Hello, my name is Buthina Al Jamri. We're going to talk about noun clauses as subject and object. Content, noun clause definition, noun clauses as subject, noun clauses after empty subject it, noun clauses as object, noun clauses after empty object it. Our lesson today is based on two famous novels, Jane Eyre by Charlotte Bronte and Sense and Sensibility by Jane Austen, which means the examples mentioned are taken from these novels, although I couldn't find all the terms, so there will be examples written by me. First thing first, noun clause is a dependent clause that functions as a noun or a noun phrase. They can act as a subject, direct and indirect object, predicate nominatives, object of a preposition. You must notice that noun clauses always begins with words such as how, where, when, why, what, whom, whose, which, that, whether, whatever, whichever, whomever, whoever, wherever, and however, which are called WH words, although how and that doesn't begin with a WH, but they are considered from the same family. Noun clauses as subject. You know that subject is who or what the verb does. And we can use the noun clause as the subject before a verb. And we can use a noun clause as the subject before a verb beginning with. And we can use a noun clause as the subject. And we can use a noun clause as the subject before a verb in formal situations, beginning with that plus a noun phrase. For example, she had forgotten, I could not very well understand her, that I was ignorant. You can notice here that is in the beginning of this sentence. The noun phrase is afterwarded directly. The other one is that she might be secure if their approbation before her answer were sent. The other rule is, rather than that with an NP clause, we are going to use here WH word with a noun phrase. For example, what we tell you is for your good. So you see here that what is from the WH word, and afterward it comes the noun phrase, we tell you. The other one is when a chance influx of visitors at Gateshead. When a chance influx of visitors at Gateshead Hall rendered it necessary to turn to account all the accommodation it contained. You see here that WH word when plus a noun phrase, a chance, which is a noun that can be considered as a noun phrase. Noun clauses after empty subject at. What is empty subject at? We must know that it can come as a subject or an object, but it doesn't refer to anything in particular. That's why it is called empty or dummy subject or object it. For example, if we said it is getting a bit late now, it here doesn't refer to anything. Look at this example, it may get more clear. She doesn't like it when you are so quiet. Again, it doesn't refer to anything at all. See, it's quite easy. Now back to our subject. We have the first rule, it as an empty subject plus that clause. The first example is, it was not inclination that he wanted Eleanor. It is in the beginning of the sentence, so it is the subject of the sentence. Afterward, the that clause, that he wanted. It might have been odd that he should leave us without acknowledging everything to me at once. So here, it is in the beginning of the sentence, so it is a subject, and that he should leave us comes after the empty subject, it. Again, we can say that empty subject, it, can come after WH clause. The other rule is, it as an empty subject plus a WH clause. It shall be not put off when we are so near it. It is the empty subject. When we are so near it is the WH clause. The other rule is, it as an empty subject, and in the end it must come if or whether. For example, it took up 10 minutes to determine whether the boy were most like his father and mother, and in what particular he resembled either. You can notice that it is in the beginning of the sentence, which is empty subject, and whether is at the end of the sentence. Another example, and it seemed as if her tears were even then restrained with difficulty. Now another example, and it seemed as if her tears were even then restrained with difficulty. You see here, it is the subject of the sentence, and afterwards comes if. When whether comes in the position of a subject and after it a noun clause, whether directly becomes a subject. And only whether, not if, can be considered as a subject if it is in the beginning of the sentence. For example, here we have, whether Barton Cottage or the houses were in the same parish could by any alteration be comfortable to her. Whether we try hard or not doesn't really matter. Noun clauses as object. You know that the object is whoever or whatever receives the action. So here, noun clauses are taking over the position of an object. We can use noun clause to express a fact, an idea, and a direct speech, but there must be a verb before the noun clause. Look at these sentences and observe whether it is a fact, idea, or a direct speech. First example, why, thought I, does she not explain that she could neither clean her nails nor wash her face as the water was frozen? It is a fact because the water was frozen, so because she is freezing, she cannot clean her nails nor wash her face, so it is a fact. The other example is, Noor advised that we mustn't cross the road without a company. Here is giving a suggestion. In this example, we are giving a suggestion because here Noor advised us that we mustn't cross the road because it is dangerous, so we must have a company. So here she is suggesting something, suggesting an advice. The next example is, the next day she laid the affair before Mr. Brocklehurst, who said that Mrs. Reed must be written to, as she was my natural guardian. So here is an indirect speech. There are certain verbs such as show, tell, assure, convince, inform, notify, persuade, remind, and warn. We include with it an indirect object, me or you, before a noun clause as the direct object. For example, he reminded me my nephew broke the window. I assure you that the task will be finished in time. I showed them that I can make the impossible possible. There are verbs named liking verbs that comes before empty object it. For example, she likes it when they preserve the environment. He doesn't like it that his wife complains all the time. I think it's obvious here. As for the thinking verbs, such as think and consider, we can use it as an empty object plus a noun and a noun clause. For example, I thought it pride when I didn't apologize. Thinking verb is thought, it is the empty object it, pride is the noun, and when I didn't apologize is the noun clause. In the next rule, we must use an adjective rather than a noun. For example, he considered it harmful when he experienced it himself. So harmful is an adjective. And when he experienced it himself is the noun clause. Last but not least, you can use it plus as before a noun or an adjective after verbs like regard, see, and view. For example, all of us view it as the most important factor that the company relies on. So here it as an empty object before it is a view, and the noun clause that the company relies on. Our lesson has ended, and for more information I included you more videos so you can learn more. Thank you for watching and listening.